You're listening to the Platte River Bard.
Hello, and welcome to the Platte River Bard. This is Chris Berger.
And I'm Sherry Berger. The 7-weekend run of the 2020 Kansas City Renaissance Festival was canceled due to the safety concerns resulting from the pandemic and reduced to a much safer 2-weekend drive-through event.
On this episode of The Bard, we talk with Brian Wendling, also known as Bob the Incredible Juggler.
Brian Wendling is an award-winning entertainer who has performed at Disney World and the Atlanta Olympics. He has also opened for the Guess Who and has been a guest artist with the Kansas City Symphony. The director of entertainment at Silver Dollar City Theme Park in Branson, Missouri, stated that Brian exhibited a singular ability in the juggling arts, and his performance was always of a high caliber. I highly recommend this talented, tireless performer to anyone desiring high skill, comedy, fun, and a remarkable degree of audience participation.
On a personal note, having known Brian for around 30 years, I can tell you that I have witnessed his talent, professionalism, and kindness firsthand. He gives his audience the same great performance and energy if they are 2 or 2,000. For this, and a host of other reasons, is why Brian has been thrilling and delighting audiences all over the country for over 40 years and shows no sign of slowing down. All right, we are here now with Brian Wendlane, also known as Bob the Incredible Juggler.
Yay!
Thank you for coming and talking to us.
I wasn't sure that was me for a second.
That's you.
It is me. Yeah, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Oh, absolutely,
Thanks for
absolutely.
being
Now,
here.
Bob is one of the long-running favorites here at the Kansas City Renaissance Festival, sure, amongst other
He's old.
fairs. Well, I say long-running.
That's true.
Because you've been around. I mean, you've been around for quite a while here. Would you start here late 80s?
I started in
mid-80s?
1979, same year that Dr. Doom paid the
Yeah.
fire eater.
Okay.
So he's been here the entire run. I've missed a couple of years over there. So this actually would have been my 40th year at the Kansas City Renaissance Fair.
Wow.
This would have been your 40th.
Right.
Did you guys see each other that first year?
You know, I don't recall in those early years
Yeah.
performing in the lane, so to speak, without a
Yeah.
stage. And
Right.
you know, and that
Yeah.
we'd come down for the weekends and perform, and it's all a bit blurry.
I bet.
I met my wife that year, so
Oh.
that's really my clearest memory. And there's a
Right.
picture that they
Yes.
used to have on a calendar from the time with my partner at that time. So those are my touchstones for
Oh,
remembering
right.
things from then, because
Yeah.
I'm old. Yeah.
No, no, you're not.
40
Yes.
years performing, juggling, and performing all kinds of other types of things, not just exclusively juggling, but other types of things in that vein.
In that genre, yeah. All
Now-
kinds of manipulation or bouncing or all kinds of spinning, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. And now I'm going to assume that you didn't start doing this just to get a job at the Renaissance Festival. This was an interest that you had before you ever stepped out here.
I was going to university in Minnesota, where I'm from, Minneapolis.
Okay.
And I saw a juggler. There's a big bridge that connects the two campuses, the main campuses, East Bank, West Bank of the Mississippi.
Okay.
And there was a juggler there, and I wanted to teach myself, so I went home and tried to use little wiffle balls, the little plastic ones with the holes in them, because
Oh,
that's what I had.
Yeah.
And this is like 1976 maybe or 7. And then there was a very informal community class with juggling, and the guy that taught the class, Mario Lorenz, who now lives in Washington State, became my mentor. And then we hooked up with another guy and started a group called Sideshow, the three of us. The other guy was a conga player, like a percussionist, and he learned how to juggle later. And
Okay.
it was the 70s. It was the 70s, you know. We all had long hair. It was
Yeah.
alternative stuff, but I liked the physical part of learning. And
Yeah.
being the really painfully shy kid I was, it was I think it was just something that allowed me to do things that I wouldn't have done anyway, even though I didn't know that then.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
So you didn't start juggling until college. That's amazing.
Yeah, I was like 21 maybe or so. So I didn't start like some of the prodigies
Or,
in
yeah.
any profession. You know, I was older, which has limitations, but I've learned a lot over the course of the last 40 some years. So yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. And now, of course, this isn't. You haven't just exclusively done the Kansas City Renaissance Festival. You've traveled around the country doing various other fairs and events and what have you. And of course, have you traveled and worked? I know you traveled overseas. Have you worked overseas?
I've never really performed overseas. I bring
Okay.
a few things. My wife has wanderlust. She has ever since she was a kid, and her family would travel. And my family didn't have any money, so we never really traveled like that. But
Sure.
now my joke is I hang on to her and we travel. when
Yeah,
we
you
can,
guys
so
are always going somewhere. Yeah,
It's true. But no, I did a 5-month school assembly tour once in around 1990. Did hundreds of shows in all kinds of little schools, Native American schools, an adolescent prison in California. I mean, just all these little places that you got a chance to explore, and it was fascinating. If I could have made a living doing that and kept my personal life together, I would have done that because it was great work. So things like that. Worked with the Kansas City Symphony once for a magic series that they did.
Neat.
The Kansas City Rep made me up like a Harlequin with a fantastic costume, and it was like 2,000 people every night, and I was scared out of my wits, and it was great fun.
Oh yeah.
So in both little things and big things, and
Sure.
so mainly sort of smaller to medium range. I'm not a big guy in the business, but for some reason I've been able to last a long time. So I've been very fortunate.
That's wonderful.
Well, I think one of the things for those who are familiar and may not be familiar with Bob, as you've watched him over the years, especially if you've seen him more than one year, every year you see Bob, it seems like he's got something new. You've always got something new you're trying, or something, and it may be something related to juggling, or it might be like you said, you've been doing some spinning stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And all kinds of different stuff, the ladder stuff and the kind of balancing stuff. And there's always something new. So I suspect that maybe it might be because you really haven't stopped learning. And which is one of the things that always impressed me with watching you over the years is you're always trying new stuff.
Well, that's part of the challenge of working a place for a long time, too. Well, first of all, I have a curiosity about it. And there's something about
Yeah.
learning something that one thinks one can, quote unquote, never do. Sometimes you can't, but
right,
sometimes
never
you do it, and it's
perfect
like,
it, yeah.
or even smaller things that are interesting, too. So, but being out here and being here for so long, that's part of it, too. I get to do 80 shows every year. And so that gives me a chance to practice and work on something and have it work kind of organically, so I can do the skill in front of the people, have an idea of where I want to go, and the audience kind of shows me what to make it, how it becomes something over time, because I don't create very well by writing or anything else. It's more existentially in front of people.
Sure,
so
you'd rather try it and
I
work
fail
it out.
again and again and again and again,
Hey, but-
until it's by piece, it sort of comes together.
Yeah, until you learn what the trick wants to be, what the audience wants to see you do with that trick, essentially. That you work better like that instead of in a vacuum at home. Oh, I'm going to write this out. I'm going to write out my routine
wish I could.
with this new thing.
I wish
And then
I-
go do it. Yeah.
People that write songs and can write things
well,
for material, I'm very envious of them, because it's a
Well,
real skill that I don't have, and it
that's-
lets you go in different directions that I'm a little bit limited in that particular way. So
Fair enough. But that's hit and miss, too. And, I mean, ultimately, you try it out in front of the crowd for the first time, and boy, you thought it was great, but the crowd's like, yeah, that's all right.
maybe they like the interaction more than what you're actually doing.
Yeah,
you never know
exactly.
what's going to stick. That's the
know.
thing. And that's okay.
But yeah, but that's the really interesting part about things that we do, and specifically performers like you do, is that not only are they always trying new and different things from season to season, but they work it out. They work it out with their audience, which I've always found really is one of the hallmarks of a lot of performers that I really enjoy watching, because I've seen other folks do that, and they're like, hey, here's a new thing and we're going to try this, and they just let their audience love it, hate it, comment, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
And they can tell, because they know they're, and it's nice to see, and it's neat to see. And
Well, just like you've been out at this festival for many years. When the audience trusts you, and they like you, then you have a safe place to fail or succeed.
Yes.
And you can be playful. If you get off track, you can come back to comfort food and again, in a sense.
Yes.
And so that's the best thing. It's, how lucky is that you have a place, because it's hard to find places to kind of not be perfect.
Right.
So.
Yes.
And Lord
yeah.
knows I'm not perfect.
Well,
I've been married a long time.
I guess you're right. Well, that's true. Neither are we. Neither am I.
Very true.
Yeah, but that is right. This is one of those places where I guess you're not. Everything isn't expected to be absolutely perfect,
Mm-hmm.
and that the audience is sort of allowed to comment on it, and it is a very different environment, and they do.
Of course.
And they do.
And you have to be ready to roll with it and understand it's not just you up there. It's everybody involved. Yeah.
But
So how long did you have to do your street show until you got your stage?
You know,
Yes.
I don't remember. It was with Sideshow for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And then Sideshow had different members that would come. They would work the Minnesota Renaissance Fair, where everybody was from. And
Okay.
but also sort of have a second group that was here, so that would mix and match. I had met my wife here in 79, so I moved here the next year. And so I was always part of whatever group was here in Kansas City.
okay.
And so I don't recall, but it didn't take that long because the fairs were a relatively newer phenomenon. So you would get some staging, but you probably would have to move around from stage to stage to stage, kind of unlike now where we have sort of like a home stage.
Right,
If
yeah.
you're more established, which
There
now
was-
I have lots of toys because I don't have to carry them. I used to have a little garment bag, a little carpet bag that somebody made,
Yeah.
and another thing for torches, and you just pick it up and
And
move
just
down the
go.
road and go. So yeah. So it took a while. I mean, and at first you're just doing tons of shows, not making any money, but and I'd never been to a Renaissance fair before I had worked one. So for me it was,
You as well.
in Minnesota, and I never had been. So
Rod, Dr. Dumpe hadn't been to one before he did one either.
it's a strange thing. So it wasn't like I had scoped it out and thought, well, what's going to work or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah, so.
completely new environment. Yeah. See, and I came in either the first or second year here. I was either here in 77 or 78.
Wow.
And it may have been the second year. And have been coming back ever since. And of course the site and the performers have varied and changed over the years, but some folks like yourself and Rod have sort of always been here since the very early days.
Like dirt. Well, and we've been fortunate. This one's a more sort of regional fair in a sense. They don't get as many national acts as they used to.
No.
There was a time when there were more traveling through. So
Yes.
and so maybe not the best for the fair, objectively speaking.
Sure.
But fortunate for me that I've had a place I could come for a long time, which is part of the responsibility I feel too, is to do something new and
Yes.
at least, and no matter what the weather is, I always do a show, even if it sucks.
Yeah, I know.
But the audience appreciates it, and that's
They
the thing.
do.
It's having respect for what you do and respect for the audience, and understand they come to see you. Someone's coming, and so
Yeah.
what you gonna do?
That's part of the
You're gonna
deal.
hide somewhere and stay dry and
No,
sing and
that's the
interact.
deal.
You're gonna do a sloshy show and pretend to juggle for 30 minutes.
Rain or shine.
Yeah, and
That's
so
what we do.
I have a respect for it, no matter how many people, where it is,
Yeah.
how much money I'm getting paid. It's not all the same, but it is all the same.
Yes. Absolutely, yeah. Although we did run from the tornado in Council Bluffs.
Oh,
We did cancel the show.
yeah.
But we ended up singing for 4 hours in the shelter that everyone was in. So
Well, that's being smart.
so there you go. So we did the show anyway. Isn't that
So you
ridiculous?
do other fairs than Kansas City?
I do the Oklahoma Renaissance Fair in Muskogee. I've done for about 21 years, and then,
Yeah.
and then I've done the Norman Medieval Fair a few times, like the last 2 or 3 years, and one or two other times filling in for another performer that they had for many years.
Yes.
And other than that, it's everything from regular festivals to I did a lot of schools at one point. I do a lot of libraries now because I like those.
Yeah.
I'm sort of at the end of my career in a sense, so I just want to be at places I like. And
Fair enough.
libraries are positive places. It's family
Yes.
stuff. I can kind of give energy to the kids and the adults. It's not just a kid show.
Yes.
I mean, it's all appropriate, but I can kind of give them a hard time,
Yes.
involve them too. So,
Oh yeah.
So and then my wife's retired, so we travel a little bit more in the wintertime now.
Yes.
I've given that up for her, so which makes sense. So, but I still enjoy it, still standing. And when it's a thing I think that maybe is true for you. I'm guessing every performer I know,
Sure.
just being in front of a live audience.
Oh,
It doesn't matter where it is.
No.
That's what we miss now. That's what I miss. So the opportunity to be part of the filming for the Jolly Rogers, whole videotape thing today is just like, if you picked me, I'm happy to come.
Please. Oh,
You'll
please.
Give me just to be part of something right now is everything.
Well, we are grateful that you said yes, and as many people that we everybody we reached out to, if they were able to be here, I think they were pretty much here, which is nice to see, and it's we'll try to do something, try to bring a little bit of it to the people that can watch.
Sure.
So and at this point it's better than nothing, and make sure people remember we're still here. Well, and hopefully maybe next year.
That's the way I feel. I'm better than nothing.
Yeah, it's better.
No, but you're absolutely right.
Because we weren't gonna have. It's not happening.
Yep.
And everybody, so and that's fine, and we all understand.
Sure.
But put a little something together, and we were just happy that people responded so quickly. And so positively. So
and what a nice day for it.
and we have
it's a stunning. This is a great
perfect
fair day.
weekend for it.
It really is.
So
Well, it's great. You guys did this too. Then doing the podcast and interviewing a few people along the way. It's
absolutely.
I was saying this is a great setup they got here. Isn't it?
Yeah.
No, it's really nice to be part of this as well. So.
Well, no,
Thank you. We're happy to do it.
And it's one of the kind of the few positive things that are kind of going on that we can highlight right now. So it's like the fair closed, but.
Yeah, exactly.
But a bunch of performers got together, and now they're doing a virtual show, and there we go. And that's neat. So that's something positive. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
But
they missed you. The fans missed you guys.
Yes, they do.
So
They miss the performers a great deal, and we noticed that as soon as we posted our very first video. Just the comments of how much everyone is missing, getting to see the performers, getting to see the place, getting to see their other friends that they go do this with, and
things you take for granted. So that's the thing, which we should always be that way, frankly. But it's a reminder. So it's good.
It's nice.
They can watch us in our funny costumes, and
there we go. We dressed up and everything.
Exactly.
Well, thank you very much, Brian, for doing this, and hopefully at some point we'll get to talk to you a little more.
Well, you're both very kind. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, man. Awesome.
Thank you for listening and supporting the arts in the Platte River area and beyond. Please subscribe to our podcast so you are sure to catch all of our future episodes and join us on social media. We are on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Music for this podcast was used with permission by Screaming Skull Productions. See you next time on the Platte River Bard.